For the kingdom of God is not meat and drink, but righteousness, peace, and joy in the Holy Ghost. You are welcome to Kingdom Koinonia with the Bishop Dr. George Horatio. Stay tuned.
There's nothing like
Hi, shalom, beloved of the kingdom. I trust that you are doing very well by God's grace, and I also want to welcome you to this edition of Kingdom Koinonia. I trust that God will bless you as you tune in and as you watch this broadcast. I trust by God's grace to share with you the third of a series, the third part of a series which I call A Nation in Crisis. We started by looking at the first part, which we call Don't Eat Your Son. We believe in times of crisis, when you are hard pressed, you are tempted to forgo or to gamble with the last thing that is left in your life. Your son is your potential, your son is your strength, and you wouldn't touch the only thing that you have. And the second part, we try to look at the whole range of the scenario, as it were, the famine in Samaria, and we realize the story began from the wall to the gate. And so we looked at from the city wall to the city gate. And in a situation like this, there are three groups of people. Number one is the masses, the ordinary citizens. They form a particular group of people. And number two is the political authority. There is always a political authority in any organized human system. And more often than not, when the masses or the grassroots people, they are in crisis, they look up to the political authority first. Political authority is the first person they lift their heads up to, or they lift up their eyes to look at. And so when the political authority itself has nothing to offer, then you know the whole situation has become chaotic. And so in that situation in Samaria, two women, were fighting over whose son will be eaten, on that day. And then they had to call the king, the political authority. And normally when the political authority is unable to satisfy the desires of the people or to meet the needs of the people, he will look for the spiritual authority. So these are the three categories of people in every human, every organized human system: the masses, the political authority, and the spiritual authority. In this edition, I'll be sharing with you what happens at the gate, and I title the message "4 at the Gate." 4 as the number 4 at the gate. And you can open your Bible and turn with me to the second book of Kings, chapter number 7, and I read from verse number 1. Then Elisha said, "Hear ye the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord, tomorrow about this time shall a measure of fine flour be sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel in the gate of Samaria." Then a Lord on whose hand the king leaned answered the man of God and said, "Behold, if the Lord will make windows in heaven, might this thing be?" And he said, "Behold, thou shalt see it with your eyes, but shalt not eat thereof." Verse number 3. And there were 4 lepers, or 4 leprous men at the entering of the gate, and they said one to another, "Why sit we here until we die?" Number 4. If we say we will enter into the city, then the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit here still, we die also. Now therefore come, and let us fall unto the host of the Syrians. If they save us alive, we shall live, and if they kill us, we shall but die. Number 5. And they rose up in the twilight to go unto the camp of the Syrians. And when they were come to the uttermost part of the camp of Syria, behold, there was no man there. Number 6. For the Lord had made the hosts of the Syrians to hear a noise of chariots and a noise of horses, even the noise of a great host. And they said one to another, "Lo, the king of Israel has hired against us the kings of the Hittites and the kings of the Egyptians to come upon us." Wherefore they arose and fled in the twilight, and left their tents and their horses and their asses, even the camp as it was, and fled for their life. Verse number 8. And when these lepers came to the uttermost part of the camp, they went in into one tent, and did eat and drink, and carried thence silver and gold and raiment, and went and hid it, and came again and entered into another tent, and carried thence also, and went in and hid it. Shall we just jump to verse number 18? And it came to pass, as the man of God had spoken to the king, saying, 2 measures of barley for a shekel, and a measure of fine flour for a shekel shall be tomorrow about this time in the gate of Samaria. Number 19. And that Lord answered the man of God and said, Now behold, if the Lord shall make windows in heaven, might such a thing be? And he said, Behold, thou shalt see it with thine eyes, but shall not eat thereof. And verse number 20, our last verse for today. And so it fell unto him, for the people trod upon him in the gate, and he died. Amen. So this is the word of the Lord for us today. And so we are looking at 4 at the gate. Number 1, 4 lepers at the gate. There were 4 lepers. You want to ask yourself, why are you here? Now, these lepers were there because they were lepers. They were at the gate because they were lepers. A life condition had treated them badly, and they were not accepted in the city. Their health condition, their physical condition had put them at the gate. Number 2, 4 conditions at the gate. So number 1, we said that there are 4 lepers, and number 2, there were 4 conditions at the gate. And so you want to ask yourself, how do I feel? Or how do you feel at the gate? The conditions you go through. Number one condition, there was vulnerability. Vulnerability, as it were, the lepers at the gate, they were first to be attacked by the Syrians. They were at the gate, and the gate was the only entry point if there was any move by the enemies into the city of God, into Samaria. And so they were vulnerable. Their condition number 1 was vulnerability. They were first liable to be easily attacked or hurt. Maybe your peculiar situation makes you vulnerable. People take advantage of you. Today, people want to have sex with young ladies who are desperately looking for a job. Vulnerability. Maybe you are living with an extended family couple, and because you are not a biological son or a biological daughter, they have relegated you to the background, to the place of a house help, to the place of a houseboy, and to the place of a servant, and they are dishing all the donkey jobs on you. They make you do all the donkey jobs. That is vulnerability. When you are vulnerable, your life is in a mess. Your life is in chaos. Anybody in the situation can calm down upon you. But number two at the gate was something we call uncertainty, because we are looking at 4 conditions at the gate. Number 1 condition was vulnerability. Number 2 was uncertainty. Now in verse number 3, and there were 4 lepers, men at the entry in of the gate, and they said one to another, Why sit we here until we die? Apparently they didn't know why they were sitting down there. They were uncertain about the future, uncertain about why they were there. I'm talking to somebody who is not sure why he should remain in that marriage. The man is misbehaving for 3 years now. The man has not been sleeping home, and for so many months now, the man has not been behaving as a husband, and for certain number of weeks now, the wife has been behaving some way. You don't really know why you are in this marriage. You are still in the marriage. Uncertainty. If you don't know why you are there, and then you will never know what the marriage has for you. Number 3 condition at the gate was a condition of anxiety. Now, verse number 3b, he said, and they said one to another, Why sit we here until we die? And so there is anxiety. There is a fear of imminent evil, especially death, out of famine. And verse number 4a, if we say we will enter into the city, then the famine is in the city, we shall die. If we say we will sit here, we die also. And so there is death staring at them, and anxiety, pain, fear of death. Maybe you are a probation worker in your place of work, and with the COVID-19 issue, your employers are considering, they're contemplating whether to downsize the staff or not. But you are a probation worker, and definitely you'll be the first on the list. Anxiety. You are scared. You are troubled. You are down with the fear of losing your job. But it wasn't only anxiety, it wasn't only uncertainty, it wasn't only vulnerability. There was a fourth condition, which was the game changer, which we call tenacity. Tenacity is identify one option and one line of action and hold it strongly onto it. More often than not, it is this line of tenacity that brings the game change. It is this one that brings the victory. It is this line that brings everything we need. In verse number 4b, he said, "Now therefore come and let us fall unto the host of the Syrians. If the savers alive, we shall live, and if they kill us, we shall but die." And so it is identified the least of the possibilities. Apparently, it is the least and the only favorable possibility. It is a faint line. It is a gray area. But most of the time, if we are able to hold on to it, something called inner tenacity will push us to a place of victory. So this was what led to verse number 5. "And they rose up in the twilight to go into the camp of the Syrians. And when they were come to the uttermost part of the camp of Syria, behold, there was no man there." Tenacity will fight vulnerability. Tenacity will fight uncertainty. And tenacity will fight anxiety. Tenacity is a game changer. If you have an inner tenacity, it doesn't matter what the odds will say to you. It doesn't matter what the conditions be. It doesn't matter what all other people are saying. Inner tenacity will change your game. I pray for you that God will stir up the inner tenacity in you and give you that which it takes to move on and win victory. And then the third of the four at the gate is what we call four possibilities. And so now what can happen to you? You want to look at what can happen to you in the entire scenario. Number one, they could die at the gate if they continue to stay there. Number two, they could die in the city. It was highly possible they would die in the city because there was no food in the city. And so no food at the gate, they would die. No food in the city, they would die. Number three, if they dare move to the camp of the Syrians, they will also die because their enemies will not spare them. And so number three, it was likely they would die. But number four, they look at the gray area. They look at the thin possibility. They look at the least of the possibility. More often than not, this is almost impossible. The probability is 0.0001. But they thought that would bring the survivor. And so the fourth possibility was survivor in the Syrian camp. I came to tell you, don't throw in the towel yet. There is always a line of possibility. There's always something that will bring you the most desired victory. Now, if you address what can happen to you, and you have realized there is a least chance of survival, then what do you have to work out your survival? And so 4 resources. Number one, what they had was famished body. Famished body. Their body had been weighed down by famine. Number two, they had leprous feet. That meant their walk, if they should, would be very slow and painful. Number three, they had the will to dare. He said, "Let us fall onto the Syrian." They had the will to dare. It's what we call willpower. If you have the will to dare, you will dare to win. If you have the will to dare, you will dare to win. But number four, the time was unfavorable, but it was a resource. Unfavorable time to act. Many times we look at the time and we think, let me do it tomorrow. We procrastinate. For all you know, today is the best time to do this thing and to win. Today is the best time to sow this seed and to break through. Today is the best time to talk to that soul and to win him. And today is the best time to attend that meeting and to come out delivered and blessed. Today may be your time. As you hear the sound of my voice, as you watch this video, remember God may be talking to you to take a certain drastic action today, and this will be your game changer. And so the time was not favorable. It was a twilight. What is a twilight? A twilight is a period of time when daylight is giving way to night. It's giving way to darkness. It is a time when the sun has actually gone down and darkness or night is showing up gradually. Most of the time, people don't want to start a new venture in the twilight. They want to postpone a shift to the next day because it is a time of rest. It is a time of complacency. It is a time of compromise. Twilight is the last stages in something, last stages of something. More often than not, it is the weakest part of the thing. It is the time when the thing appears least important. And so people don't want to start a new thing in the twilight. Or twilight is an uncertain area or condition between two things that are very certain, that are very clearly defined. And so in between two clearly defined things, there is something that is called twilight. Twilight is characterized by indecision due to uncertainty. Some of the questions that are asked during twilight is, will it work? Is it the correct time? Is it sufficiently strong, significant, or big, or powerful? Ladies and gentlemen, you remember when Elijah had the servant to go and watch seaward to see if there will be cloud. 6 times there was nothing. Elijah said, go again. On the 7th time, he came back and said, I see a little cloud. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the little cloud that brought the game change. That was the game changer. It looked like a little lunch that was used to feed 5,000 people. Elisha asked him, what do you have? He said, about little oil. It was the little oil that changed the story. Twilight is full of little things. But when these little things are put into good use, they bring victory, they bring the game change. And so you cannot forget about the servant who was given just 1 talent. His other fellow servants were given 5 and 2 respectively. And each worked with the 5 and they got 5 and 2 respectively. He looked at his talent. In his own eyes, it was a little talent. You don't despise little beginnings. He buried this talent and it became destruction unto him. On the day of accountability, he didn't have anything to show for. And so it was taken into Gehenna for destruction. When we hold back the little thing, our lives are destroyed. Ladies and gentlemen, I came to tell you that whatever it is that we have in our hands, as we are located at the gate, God will cause a game changer. He will bring something into our life that will cause us to visit the camp of the enemy and to realize that the enemies have run away because we were coming. As they hear the sound of your footsteps, God will turn it around and they will think they are hearing a sound of horses and chariots. It is by functioning that we discover the blessings of life. And so don't hold back, don't keep back your only resource, albeit it little, albeit it insignificant, albeit it small. Let us use what we have so we will receive from God what we deserve. Do something with what you have. Work with what you have. Break through with what you have. And God will give to you that which you deserve. If the Lord takes you to the gates, then He has a plan for you. God is preparing you to enter the camp of your enemy. Anything that has been taken from your hand, the Lord will give it back to you. Don't bemoan your present location, that you are the gate, you are rejected, you are neglected, and you are relegated, and nobody has any business with you. If God wants you to be there, stay there, because God has a time to move you into the camp of the enemy. As you move into the camp of your enemy, God will empower you. You are going to recover everything that has been stolen from you, and your life will be a new story to tell about. I thank God for your life. I believe God is preparing you to be a source of inspiration unto many others. It started from the wall. It ended at the gates. There were 4 lepers at the gates. There were 4 conditions. There were 4 possibilities. There were four resources. Jehovah has planted you at a certain point in time for such a season like this. It shall be well with you. Your life will be turned around. And the story of your latter end shall be better than the former. God bless you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to Kingdom Koinonia. We hope you have been blessed by this message. To know more about the ministry, kindly visit us at Your Bell Kingdom Family or contact us on 0244 270 738 or 0244 846333. God richly bless you.